A Nigerian man, Tolu, is staring down the possibility of spending up to 17 years in jail in the UK. I mean 17 years. This is a man who once worked with pride as a student, a man who dreamed of saving lives as a nurse. But today, those dreams are hanging on it by a thread. How did a bright, law abiding immigrant suddenly find himself in this nightmare? Stay with me because this story could happen to anyone. 6 years ago, Tolu arrived in the UK with nothing but ambition and hope, like most people. He came for his master's degree, believing that hard work would open doors. And he wasn't wrong. Tolu studied, he burned the midnight candle, he pushed through challenges and eventually qualified as a mental health nurse. His future seemed almost guaranteed: stability, respect, a life his family back home could be proud of. But life had other plans for Tolu. Tolu met a British woman, a mother of two children from previous relationships. Instead of turning away, Tolu stepped in. He treated those children as his own, gave them care and attention their fathers never did for those children. It wasn't long before the woman became pregnant with Tolu's child. Tolu thought he was building a family, but in truth, he was building a trap. You need to listen attentively to Tolu's story because I'm sure you're going to learn a lesson from that. Behind closed doors, the fairy tale began to crumble. The woman hurled racial slurs, racial abuse at Tolu. Her children pushed back against Tolu's authority, saying things no stepfather should ever want to hear from their stepchildren. Arguments became frequent in the home. Tolu began to realize this relationship wasn't just toxic, but it was a dangerous relationship. Then came the birth of their child. But when Tolu asked for his name to be placed on the birth certificate, which was normal, she refused. Imagine the pain. A father denied his own child. Tolu was forced to take the matter to court. A DNA was conducted and the DNA proved the truth. Tolu was the father of this child, and the judge ordered his name to be added. For a moment, justice seemed to be on Tolu's side. At the same time, his career finally took off. With his nursing license in hand, Tolu secured a stable job. He earned so much money and even bought a house for himself. After years of struggle in the United Kingdom, Tolu's life finally started realigning. But success can attract envy, and such envy can be very deadly. You need to be careful when you're successful, because not everyone around you that beats the drum is happy with your success. Just when Tolu thought he had broken free, she pulled him back. A late night video call with seductive words, flirtation, against his better judgment, Tolu reconciled. Soon, she was pregnant again. But this time around, things were different. She cut Tolu off from his friends, isolated him, and took full control of Tolu's life. What looked like love was imagination in disguise. Tolu dreamed of opening a children's care home, but when he refused to list her as a director in the business, the fights exploded. The insults returned, sharper, cruel, and dripping with racism. Tolu had no peace at home. The woman who shared his bed had become his enemy within his own walls. Not all secrets are what you share with people. You need to be mindful of who you live with. Now there was this allegation, and that was the blow that shattered everything. She accused Tolu of rape, not once but several times, claiming he assaulted her in her sleep. And in the Western world, police don't take such assault. They don't take such claims easily. So they stormed Tolu's workplace. The same hospital walls where he once healed patients became the place where Tolu was handcuffed and dragged away. His reputation was gone in seconds. Reputation that he has built was gone in seconds. Men, you need to be very careful. You need to be very careful. How you interact with females, very important. If you are in the Western world, you need to try and live peacefully with your family, with your wife if you are married. If you are not married, use your tongue and count your teeth very well, so that any woman you decide to settle down with will be the one that you will have a measure of trust after you've done your due diligence. It is true nobody is perfect, but we still have people that are very awesome, very amazing, that you can have a perfect relationship with. But you need to do your due diligence and always use your tongue to count your teeth. That is an African proverb, which I'm sure many of us can resonate with. Now, Tolu waits. He has been suspended from nursing, banned from his own home, the home he bought himself. Now, the woman and her children live in the house that Tolu bought. And Tolu's trial date, February 2026. Until then, Tolu lives in limbo. No work. He cannot go to his home. And if Tolu is convicted, he could not just he could lose not just his freedom, but spend nearly 2 decades of his life in jail. This is not just Tolu's story, it is a warning. Relationships have the power to lift you up, and at the same time, they can destroy everything that you've worked with. So I ask you, the viewer, you that is listening to me, do you think Tolu was naive? Or was he simply the victim of carefully planned manipulation? And importantly, what would you do if you were in Tolu's shoes? Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for another important story that will change your life and change your perspective, especially if you're already here in the Western world or you're planning to come here. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.